undeterred and undisputed. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Day 3 of this new show.
Good morning.
It's been a good few days,
Man,
honestly.
that song gets in my head and it just plays
This crew is
all
replacing
day and
Shannon
all
Sharp
night.
pretty well. As much as I
This
love
is
Shannon
the
Sharp,
new
and who doesn't miss
Undisputed
him?
with the same historic intensity and electricity.
First take with Shannon, though.
I'm
is
about to be joined by Keyshawn Johnson and Richard Sherman. Good luck to them today. You can join in by reaching us right now at #UndisputedLive. Here
Did he just
we
mention no
go.
Michaelirvin today?
Our first topic today
Is this our first
has
victim?
to be the team that, I don't know, I think it's already won this year's Super Bowl. Talking about the Jets, whose new quarterback dominated Hard Knocks the way no one player ever has. I've watched every moment of every episode, including last night's, and Aaron Rodgers
Last night's
has
episode was
turned
pretty
it
good.
into a one-man
Except for the very
Broadway
last
show.
couple minutes.
Did Aaron and the Jets ever win the preseason?
They had to make cuts.
With Tom Brady retired, of course, Aaron's now by far the biggest star in the NFL, the apple of the Big Apple's eye. But I say the real Hard Knocks don't start until Monday night, September 11th, when the Jets open against the Bills.
No
The
Von Miller.
Jets are 2.5-point underdogs at home? Interesting. Then check this out. The Jets play at Cowboys, home Patriots, home Chiefs, at Broncos.
Aaron Rodgers
home
likes to bring it to the
Eagles, then,
Cowboys, though.
quote unquote, at Giants, then home Chargers.
I'm sure Skip knows
What
that.
if the Jets stumble out of the gate? Wouldn't surprise me at all. What if Aaron falls back into the blame deflecting and finger pointing he was known for in Green Bay? Remember, the Packers finally concluded Aaron Rodgers was more trouble than he was worth, especially after his stats last year were almost all career lows. Aaron's playoff record
he was in a foreign
is
country
7-9 since his lone Super Bowl
Ayahuasca tea.
13 years ago.
He was tripping.
That's why I call him the most overhyped player
I don't
in
like quarterback
NFL
tripping on
history.
drugs.
I have a feeling it's going to be a long fall for the Jets, as in long autumn and long plunge. What if the only thing they win is Hard Knocks? Keyshawn Johnson, you were once drafted number 1 overall by the New York Jets. Is Hard Knocks a good thing or a bad thing for Aaron's new team?
I think it's a distraction thing more so than anything, right? All the coaches I've ever had, when Hard Knocks was available to them, they said no. I remember Hard Knocks wanted to come into the Dallas Cowboys and Bill Parcells, he laughed at it. It's just not something extra that you need. You
Who
talked
else
about
did
the
you
hype.
play for? 'Cause he was
Tony
number one,
Dungy didn't want it.
No.
You know, Parcells didn't want it.
No.
I don't think John Fox in Carolina was interested in it. I certainly know that in our time in Tampa Bay, John Gruden and company were not into it at all. We were more focused on trying to win games and not win the television war, the media. That's just not something that we were into. And I think when you look at the Jets, right
I'm
now,
sure all the owners
they
want
have
Hard
the
Knocks,
5th
though.
best odds to win the AFC. The 7th best odds, along with the
gotta bring in a
Ravens,
good bit of
to
money.
win the entire deal, the Super Bowl. Can they do it? Yes. Do they have the makeup to do it? Do they have enough players to do it? Yes. Health is part of it. I understand what you're saying about Skip. 13 years it's been since Aaron Rodgers won the Super Bowl. So what, though? Doesn't mean anything. He has his team always in the hunt. That's a plus. He's had the Green Bay Packers. Whether you like that he didn't finish the deal in Green Bay, he got upset by the 49ers. Tampa Bay came in there and steamrolled them. I mean, we get it. You're paid to win games. But in the end, this is a different situation. He's now reunited with Hackett over there. They have a defense that's lights out, Richard, right? I mean, they got a defense that's just, as they say, sauce everywhere.
Come on now.
And when you got a quarterback and a defensive coordinator as a head coach with the defensive mind, you don't need Aaron Rodgers to throw for 5,000 yards. You need him to be efficient. I need you to do things when we need you to do them. Like that throw the other night in preseason, now it's preseason. It was a laser throw right over the head of the defender, right in Garrett Wilson's hands.
It was sweet.
That's what you need. Now, can he do that in the postseason is what you're hoping, right? You're hoping
I'm
that,
not
okay.
hoping, but
well, yeah,
I'm waiting.
At
I
the
gotta
end of
see
that,
it,
you're waiting for
yeah.
it. Yeah, he can do it. But it's not just about Aaron Rodgers.
As a laser
he needs
beam.
everybody to come to the party. It's not a one-man game. This is not tennis. This is not golf. And even in golf,
Aaron
you
Rodgers
need your
was pissed
caddy to
during
give
this
you the
play,
right
though.
clubs. So
But yet on
And that
paper,
defensive
with
lineman.
Dalvin Cook now, they look like
kept hitting him
champions.
late.
I understand,
to me, right?
but it's also New York City.
Yeah.
And with New York City comes yeast. It just grows.
And what if you put Hard Knocks on top of the yeast?
What's going to
Yeah,
happen,
number 55
Skip,
right there.
is I think the Hard Knocks thing was positive. You know why? Because you know what would have been a distraction, Key? Aaron Rodgers coming there with all the baggage and nobody knowing how it's going. Everybody guessing how it's going. Are they going to have chemistry? Is he going to relate to his
But you know
teammates?
why I say distraction? Because Skip just rattled off more negatives than positives about the Jets and Aaron Rodgers' potential. That's why it's a distraction to me.
But he talked about the more negatives than positives. What Hard Knocks has shown is the positives about Aaron Rodgers. How he's gotten along with his
is very
teammates,
true.
how he's reached out to his teammates,
Yeah.
how he's forming a relationship with the younger guys.
But I don't think
Him
he
and
ever-
Sauce
I haven't
Gardner
been the
Never
biggest
had
fan
that
of Aaron
problem.
Rodgers in the past, and
I
these episodes of
disagree.
Hard
I don't
Knocks
think
have
he had that problem
definitely
with
changed
Green
my
Bay.
opinion
People
They've
on
said
him
it.
a little bit.
are Greg Jennings here on this network.
That's been the narrative.
He's funny.
That's been the narrative for Aaron Rodgers. And this Hard Knock series has shown a different side of Aaron Rodgers than the public has talked about.
Okay, I agree, but
Yeah,
remember,
the public talk around
you
Aaron
are
Rodgers over the
on
last couple
camera
years has
every
been pretty bad.
second. You don't think there's some showmanship?
Yeah, but I don't-
some
But you
acting?
can't. You can only fake it for so long, Skip. You can only fake it for so long. Like at one point or another, you're gonna get the real me, and I'm not gonna be on this camera. I don't really get. Turn the cameras off. Okay?
Hey, I get the real you when the camera's on every second, right?
That's what I'm saying.
But Skip, when you go back and you
So he's
look
saying you're
at
not?
his history in Green Bay, and I understand Greg Jennings, I understand everybody got issues with everybody. That's just the reality
Listen,
of it.
when it starts
That's just
going
how it
south,
happens.
but Aaron is the you would not have
why
loved
does
it.
but why does other teammates that Lazar likes him, Randall Cobb
Cobb
likes him?
loves
No,
him.
but I'm saying you're gonna have both sides of a story, right? At the same time, I know people in Green Bay as well. It's like it's a quarterback. That's what he's the guy. They all are selfish. All starting quarterbacks are selfish and very sensitive. All of them. From Tommy Brady on down to Mr. Manning to Steve Young on to
No
Joe
doubt.
You covered a lot of them.
Have I? But listen, Aaron is the classic out on the field, like throwing up his hands, like.
You think Dan Marino didn't chase people down? Come on, Skip, you
have
covered
to
this
pick
thing.
your spots.
Dan Marino in the middle of a game, when I first came into this league,
Yep.
he would chase them dudes down and scream at them.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, wait a minute, man. I had Drew Bledsoe in Dallas try that with me.
Right.
And
He the one who threw the pick.
Right.
Okay.
And he tried to say it
And
was my fault.
did you let him know?
Oh, well, come on, Skip.
Okay.
And what you think?
So
I just said
Skip,
that?
so
You
Skip,
can't let him make
every
it.
other
Oh, yeah, it was
quarterback
me.
is perfect, and Aaron Rodgers
You threw
got
the
all this, but that's not
interception, but it
true.
was
Peyton
clearly my
Manning has been
fault.
upset at
I'll
games.
take the
You've
blame.
seen him on the sideline.
Yeah.
So you don't
the
go cry.
classic Brady clip of him breaking the surface or whatever it
Yes,
was.
it is.
But with Aaron Rodgers, he's making an attempt. He's making an attempt to change that narrative. He's going.
I don't know,
out of
last
his way.
night's
I think a
episode of
change
Hard Knocks, he
scenery
was pretty
sometimes is
upset
good for you.
that they
When I
couldn't
went
go down
from
that,
the Seattle Seahawks to the San Francisco 49ers, it was
scrimmage.
refreshing. It was refreshing because you get stagnant as a human being. You
Aaron
get
Rodgers
stagnant
came to the
sometimes. You get stagnant
sideline,
in
he
one
was just
place.
dropping
and
F-bombs
you
about his
feel
receivers,
comfortable, and you get in a
dropping balls,
routine, and you almost get lazy.
false start.
You're not sharpening your tools the
not
same way.
happy.
And then you get to a new place,
He
and the
shouldn't be happy
perspective
either
is
way,
different. One of the guys came up to me. He was like, "Man, I love watching you. I looked up to you. You guys used to be good." And it hit me different, Skip. Man told me I used to be good. He's like, "I used to watch you when you were all
like that
pro."
Kobe,
When I was, it
Shumpert
just
story.
changed my perspective. It sparked something in me.
Shumpert's
So
like,
the
Kobe
fire
came out and said, "I had a
ignited
great
again. And
game
I think
after
the
the
same
third
thing is going to
quarter."
happen with Aaron Rodgers in New York. The fire is going to ignite again. He is in Gotham City. They finally got the hero they deserve.
Yeah.
He has another 17. When he had Devontae Adams, he was phenomenal. Those two, eggs and bacon. They were a phenomenal combination for a number of years. He got another 17 who can get the ball and make something happen.
Yeah, Devontae
he
was
don't
the
need a
best
lot of
receiver in
space.
the league
He
at
don't
that
need
time.
a lot of fancy stuff. Throw it to him, give him the ball. He'll make it happen. Garrett Wilson, Offensive Player of the Year. I think it's going to be great. The last team that was featured on Hard Knocks that actually had a really successful season was, guess who? The
Cowboys.
New York Jets with Sanchez in 2010 on Hard Knocks, made it to the AFC Championship. That's the furthest any team has made it on Hard Knocks, and I think this Jets team will make the bowl.
The problem that I have as far as the distraction go, though, Skip, is it's New York City. Okay? You're a journalist by trade.
That's all distractions.
You know how that is.
Like, that's where they live, though.
It sets it up for
New
people
York, California,
to be naysayers.
Miami.
And at the end of the day, if they were not on Hard Knocks and it didn't go according to plan, it wouldn't be the same. We wouldn't pay attention. We'd be like, okay, well, give them another shot. The fact that all of this hype and yeast is around it, if they don't go as far as many people have them going, it's going to be a disaster. Because now they're on
That's
Hard
why
Knocks.
I went to Trainwreck the other day, and you're like, Trainwreck?
Well,
but it's got potential.
It certainly has potential because of the hype behind it. If you remove Hard Knocks from it, it's still going to be hype, but it's not going to be where it is today. It's in our face.
Well, it's 'cause they're on a
every
TV
single
show.
day on HBO. It's in our face. It's in our face. At some point, you've got to deliver, and Aaron Rodgers knows
Hard
that.
Knocks doesn't give
you
off
can't go.
anything
I
that's
played in
like
New York City. You can't go in
too
New York
valuable
now.
to the
If he
teams, I
wins
feel
in New
like.
York
It's not like
City,
they're, like, showing the
it's a whole
playbook.
nother level. But if he does not, this is not going to be good for his career.
Okay.
It's just not. It's not.
What I'm saying is it has the potential to skyrocket him, and we had this talk
The rookie's
last time,
doing that shit was
into
funny.
a whole different stratosphere.
He does.
Like you say, to start the season,
They had
he
to
has
cut
Buffalo.
B-Rabbit last
Buffalo
night. You
without
kidding me?
Vaughn. We just found out Von Miller's not playing at least the first game.
It's a big deal.
It's
I
a big
agree.
deal.
Yep.
He can beat Josh Allen.
How
The
do you get one of your
quarterbacks that he
rookies
has
go
to
out
see in
and
the AFC
rap
and the
from 8
gauntlet that he
miles?
has to go through
And
will
have Eminem
catapult
himself
him where he
tweet
needs
out
to be. That's
to the
why it
player
would mean so much because he went through the AFC.
saying
He
that
went
he
through the
approved of
NFC.
his
You got
B-Rabbit.
Jalen Hurts. You got the San Francisco
then they cut
49ers,
him.
your Dallas Cowboys, but it's not a lot of. But the AFC,
You gotta keep
got
that guy for the
Herbert,
locker room.
you got Burrows. We talked about this. Mahomes.
Yep.
You got to go through the gauntlet. And early in the season, if he beats the Buffalo Bills and your Dallas
had
Cowboys,
schedule.
Yeah.
we will sit on this desk, Skip.
Hey, but I kept going on out. Then it goes Chiefs. Then it goes Eagles. Then it
2 and
goes
4.
Giants. Then it goes Chargers. It's one. It's,
But nobody's asking him to go undefeated.
No.
Nobody's saying go
Hey,
undefeated.
but there's a chance
4 to
they
start
could
out?
get off wrong and lose all those games. There's a chance,
Well,
man.
see, if that
Because-
happens, though, then
okay.
we're having a different conversation.
Brady
If
took
they start
a
0-6,
7-19
that
and
would be
flipped the
criminal.
switch on it and installed the Patriot way in Tampa Bay like overnight.
No, he didn't.
I don't think Aaron is capable
No,
of that.
you're creating false narratives,
Okay.
Skip. They went as a wild card. They went as a wild card team that snuck into the playoffs. They did not go as
Okay,
a
but
one seed where
they
he went
still
in there.
went from 7-9 to Super Bowl champion.
They went from 7-9 to I want to say they were 10-6 maybe,
Yeah, okay.
and then they went through away game after away game
They
after
caught
away
fire
game,
late.
and they caught
Yeah.
fire. That
Yeah.
It wasn't like they were the one seed dominant, waiting for them in Patriots way.
No,
Come see us.
everything hit the right way for Tom Brady.
'Cause they were older.
And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they won the Super Bowl. They ran it. You get to the Super Bowl, they ran into the Chiefs' offensive line with me and you playing.
With me,
Skip.
come on now.
Like, we were trying to protect Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
And Mahomes unraveled.
well,
we'll get
I mean,
to that in a little bit.
He didn't unravel. He just didn't have the protection. Couldn't do anything. That's
Mahomes
not
the
an
only threat to
unravel.
Brady.
You
Skip
can't
can't
roll
handle
a
it.
quarterback. You can't roll a quarterback out behind that
Yeah.
offensive line and expect for him to do the same things he's always
He
been
had a
doing.
janitor and a plumber at tackle, and you wanted him to win a Super Bowl?
That would be me and Skip.
Yeah.
Playing tackle.
Protecting, overprotecting. All right, here's my issue with Aaron Rodgers, and it's always about you ex-star players. You look at Aaron, and as one of the young Jets said, he's cool as F. Well, he is. There has never been a more stylish thrower of the football than Aaron Rodgers. It's just super cool. The way he look at his throw to Garrett Wilson the other day in the preseason game against the Giants. He's fallen. It's a fall-away throw, and it's that little flip with the style and the flair. And,
They can
and
throw
the-
it like 30
it's
miles an
got-
hour,
He's
just-
got sauce all
pretty.
over him.
Very pretty.
He is the prettiest thrower of the football I've ever seen. I thought Dan Marino was the greatest thrower, just pure thrower.
What you
But,
setting up,
hey,
Skip?
Okay.
What you setting up?
I'm just telling you, you guys get
setting
caught
high
up
expectations,
in the
so when the
flair
Jets
of it,
suck,
and the footwork
can come
is
on here.
atrocious.
How about
It's
them
all-time-
Cowboys?
Does not matter.
Until he goes 7-9 in the postseason, it doesn't matter.
Let me tell you something about footwork. Footwork is only there because people try to tell you it's bad. If it was bad, that wouldn't have been a completion. That's a completion.
So there's more than one way to skin a cat. So it doesn't have to. There are people with great footwork that would have threw an interception right there.
Man, what?
So you can't teach what he has. That's the cool thing about him. That's what makes Hall of Famers, because he can't teach. He can't tell a kid, hey, just fall back. Your body's just going to do what it's supposed to do.
Because
No.
everybody can't do
do what he
Everybody
does.
can't do what Patrick Mahomes does, right? Can't get out of harm's way, and all of a sudden, whoop, decide to flip it. Everybody can't do that. They try it.
Okay.
Doesn't work out.
It looks spectacular, but can
Yeah,
you
Aaron
back
Rodgers
it up
didn't used
and
to be
make
a
it
shortstop,
work
I
when
don't
it
think.
has to work? When the chips are
Mahomes
pushed to the
was.
middle of the table
why he gets
in
his
a big
little
playoff game
sidearm
because
fling.
he has not been able to consistently do that.
He has not performed at the level that we would come to expect from a guy that has had an awesome regular season in the playoffs. There's no question about that. But it's not all on him, Skip. We cannot place blame all on Aaron Rodgers because he's the quarterback. He has to have the receivers
wait
get
till we
open,
get to Patrick
the
Mahomes.
offensive line protecting, the offensive play caller calling the right plays, the defense not allowing the other team to score. It's a team game. And you say us X-star players, well, we get enamored with certain guys that come in the locker rooms because there's a narrative that's always set about an individual that you didn't play with on the outside. And then when you have an opportunity to really meet that person, just like you met me, and you go, that's a different dude than everybody said. That's a different guy.
I'll buy that.
He comes to work every day.
Same for this.
Same
man
for
right here.
him.
Yep.
Because people set narratives about who you are, and at the end of the day, if you never get an opportunity to really peel the banana back to see what's inside, you're going to just think, oh, he's like everybody else. He's exactly what they thought he was.
Okay.
Aaron,
go ahead.
and we talk about those championship games, and I'll just talk about the two that I played against him. That defense fell apart in both of them.
Okay.
In San Francisco, when our offense walked through them, Raheem Mostert had a historic game.
37-20.
It was 30. He ran for 250, a playoff record, an NFC
And
championship
they took the ball.
record.
I wasn't even on the team. They took the ball out of Jimmy G's hands.
They took it out. He just ran it down their throat the whole game.
He did.
So Aaron Rodgers wasn't playing D tackle or linebacker or safety for that team.
Okay, but
They
Aaron's
went-
throat got real tight because of the defense that you were playing on.
Right, and you
Because
running out of time.
His
scored
QBR that
20
day was
points.
23. That scaled
Because
0
his-
to 100
that's
because
horrible.
you guys took him all apart.
Because
Yeah,
his
well-
offensive line got abused by my guy, Nicholas John Bosa.
And they
who's going to
had
be-
one guy, Devontae Adams.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
You
Really?
X Devontae out of the equation. Aaron Rodgers is looking for his go-to guy. There's nothing else there. That's
We
why they were
weren't worried.
complaining so much about getting him the necessary help when they went out and
there
got
was
Jordan Love.
Lazard and
Valdez
Cobb
Scantling.
and yeah,
Come on,
okay.
man.
But,
Stop.
But as a defense, and I'll tell you, we game plan that week.
Yeah.
We're not Devontae Adams. Let
That's
me
it.
think.
He's the only
Who's
red
that
dot.
running back? I don't care. Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
That's who we are worried about. And when you're
Triple
playing
team
a
him.
quarterback,
Most
when you're
teams tried to put 3 on him and couldn't stop him. Seriously.
Right. And think about how good your quarterback has to be if they put 3 on you and you can still get the ball.
And that's why when you look at it, he's essentially smothering himself by focusing in on one receiver because the other dudes, they erase themselves by just being out on the field. They're cardboard cutouts in that situation.
Yep.
That's why I say you cannot blame the lack of success in the postseason solely on Aaron Rodgers. It's wrong.
Okay, but if you look hard at his 7 wins, he's lost 9 times. This is since that 13-year-ago Super Bowl. His 7 wins. Joe Webb starts at quarterback for the Vikings. He's a receiver by trade. Remember that? Kirk Cousins in Washington. He was just, listen, Dak has owned him when he was in Washington, and now they own him when he's in Minnesota. Look at what happened with the Dez caught it game. I mean, I'm a Cowboy fan, but Dez caught it and ran with it and took it, put it in his left hand and slammed it on the goal line, and they still took it away from him. Listen, if that call stands as the way it was called, he raised his arms. They had already beaten you guys up at your place that year, and they would come back to your place.
They would have came and got their faces
Okay,
kicked in.
all right, you say that, but I don't know. At least
Yeah, what do
they
you
come with
expect
some
them to say?
confidence, right?
Right.
Do you remember what they did to you in the middle of the season that year?
They got lucky on a third down that Romo should have
Really?
got sacked
Okay.
and he spent out and threw him out.
they
How did this all of a sudden come to the
That was luck.
Skip?
Okay, I'm just telling you. Okay,
you know
but
what?
he was lucky. No, I'm just showing you the luck. Remember what Odell did? He takes his receivers to South Beach to get ready
That
for
has nothing to
okay,
do with
it
the
does.
game.
It's his first
It's
game on the
4
frozen
days.
tundra.
It's 4 days later. Skip, if you don't stop.
Okay,
It's like training to go climb Mount Everest, and you practice by going to the beach.
Right through his hands. Remember Odell on the back line of the end zone? Next drive,
So you
dropped it.
telling me OBJ was still thinking about Miami
No, it's just,
5 days
it
later?
created a huge distraction.
No, what it did
I
is it
agree.
created a narrative
Yeah.
for people to talk about because if they didn't perform well, everybody was already set up to push sin.
Well, just think about it. They had a
But I would
playoff
hope
game
you wouldn't take your
at Green Bay,
to South
where the
Beach.
temperatures are
You
just
focus
like,
on
it's
that
very
other
cold.
win.
You did, and I didn't know about it.
You focus
super
on
hard
the
to play
wins.
there.
Yeah.
But
And
if was
they
a fifth,
decide to
Skip,
go
we'd all be
practice
drunk.
in
And
Miami, where the
what I'm
weather
telling
is
you is, in
supremely
those
hot
games, the defense fell apart.
and ideal.
Both of those games. When we played them in
I'd probably
Seattle,
go train
defense
in
played really
Antarctica
well in the
before I
first
train in
half.
Miami
They had
for
us 16-3. Skip.
Green Bay.
We went 18. Our offense went 18 unanswered. There was a fake field goal. Marshawn ran it down their throat. We made a 2-point conversion. It was crazy.
But your quarterback stunk for a while that day.
Right. He threw 4 interceptions.
He did.
So he threw 4 interceptions, and then at the end, guess what their defense did in the overtime?
Yeah.
They were in zero coverage in the middle of the field.
Yeah, I remember.
We checked bombs. Bombs over Baghdad. Game's over before he ever touches the ball in OT.
Okay.
So you can say what you want about Aaron Rodgers and his wins and say he got lucky, but in his losses, his defense did not show up the way he needed them. But you know who will show up? Sauce. Quinnen Williams.
Oh, well, there's-
Jermaine
Quinnen
Johnson.
Williams.
Carl Lawson.
So you call a game differently now as a coordinator on the defense and offensive side for Aaron Rodgers because you know he has protection on the defensive side of the ball.
Speaking of calling the game, close friend of mine is Paul Hackett, so I watched his sons grow up, including his youngest son, who I first met when he was 8 years old. His name is Nathaniel Hackett, and I've been watching him on Hard Knocks, and I'd never seen inside
Nathaniel
the
Hackett when he was
quarterback room with Nathaniel operating. But as much as I love his father, the son can be a class clown. I mean, he's just
Skip
cutting
just
up,
aged
he's
himself.
doing all this gold member stuff, and it's pretty wacky stuff, but Aaron gets a kick out of it, which is all that matters. Can he call games as well as he can entertain Aaron during QB meetings? I don't know about that. He's had his moments in other stops. He's called he was in that Jacksonville run when they got to the AFC Championship game in New England. He was calling plays for Blake Bortles.
Yeah, well, he took the ball out of Bortles' hands in the second half, and that's why they lost.
Okay, you can make the case. But that's a little flimsy to me. And I'm also going to talk about a guy you know very well, who is the head coach of the Jets, Robert Saleh, and you had him obviously in Seattle, where he was, what was his
Quality control.
rank? Quality control. But you got to know him
Really
pretty well. He comes across in Hard Knocks, for what it's worth, because you know you're always mic'd, but after a while, the camera's, it's going to expose whatever you are. He comes across as a really, really good human being.
Yeah,
who's
I like
a little
Saleh.
bit over his head, just in a little over his head with all the tension, all the swirl. And when he tries to address the team,
How do you want him to
it's
react,
not
though? He had a
convincing to me.
horrible
And this is
team
why
last
I
year, and
say
then all of a
distraction.
sudden,
Because
they're going into
they
this year with
now
a television
allow
show
cameras to come
and
into
a historically
their
great
facilities
quarterback
to
with a
now
serious
you have
chance to
Skip
compete for a
dissecting
championship.
every little move that they make.
He's probably does not
He's a
contain
little
himself.
bit
He's
of
never
this,
been
he's
in
a
this
little bit of
situation
that. I
before.
don't know if he's capable of doing it. If those cameras aren't in the room, you're not even having this conversation.
Can I talk about a contradiction? Because Skip said Aaron Rodgers isn't what he's portrayed on that camera from Hard Knocks.
You can't even look at Skip while he says this.
He hasn't been.
But Robert Saleh is what he's portrayed on Hard Knocks, and he's over his head.
Okay, but I don't know Robert Saleh until now. I know what Aaron's history in this league has been.
Right, but it can't be both ways. But Nathaniel Hackett, we talked about this the
can be
other
both
day,
ways.
yesterday, Skip. Nathaniel Hackett and Aaron Rodgers are peanut butter and jelly.
Locked and step.
Two of the 3 years that they've been together.
Maybe that's all that matters.
An offensive coordinator.
Okay.
He won the MVP, Skip. You cannot do better than that as a quarterback.
And a lot of times, Skip
Would argue one of those should have been Brady's, though.
A lot of times, coordinators and quarterbacks on the same page. It ain't even necessarily the coordinator calling the play.
Yeah.
It's the quarterback and what he likes. So the coordinator allows him the leeway to call the play. We don't know in the media, but as a player, you know. He called that play. He didn't call it. So I give more leeway to Aaron Rodgers calling plays this year for the Jets than I would Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah. Last quick point. It seems like the Jets are going to lead
they're
the
both
league in
new to the
F-bombs, 'cause
organization,
I've never
too,
heard
so
so
I'm
many
sure
F-bombs,
players
but
trust
maybe you
them
guys
about
know
the
better
same.
than me. Maybe that's just the language in the locker room, right?
Call
That's
playing,
the locker room.
play
Yeah.
calling wise. At
Yeah, I
least.
got some other language too, though.
Okay. Up next, I can't wait for this. Is Dallas really the best spot for Trey Lance, who did speak for the first time
Oh,
as
here
a
we go
Cowboy
again.
yesterday? Stay with us.
Oh, he spoke.